Hard truth, you know what it feels like. That sickness in your stomach when you look back at the week and see nothing but scattered pieces. Monday you were unstoppable. Tuesday you forgot why. Wednesday you made excuses. Thursday you tried again, failed by noon and spent the night numbing the guilt. Friday you called it a reset day. Saturday you didn't even pretend. Sunday you planned the perfect comeback. Then Monday came and the cycle repeated. This is the war you are losing, not because you lack talent, not because you lack desire. You lack the one thing that separates the dreamers from the doers, the ability to show up when the feeling leaves. Inconsistency is not a personality flaw. It is a pattern you have trained into your nervous system, and patterns can be broken. But first, you have to stop lying to yourself. The lie is this: I'll do it when I feel ready. You have never once felt ready for anything that mattered. Ready is a ghost you chase forever. The hard truth is that inconsistency is a choice you make every single morning. Sometimes you make it by noon, sometimes by 7:03 p.m., but you make it. And you keep making it until the cost of staying the same becomes more painful than the cost of changing. So here is your action step. Write down the last 3 times you quit on yourself this month. Do not soften the language. Do not say, I got distracted. Say, I quit. Then ask yourself, what did that quitting cost you? The gap between intent and action there is a graveyard inside your mind. It is filled with the skeletons of every plan you ever made and abandoned. Every gym membership you used twice. Every journal with 3 pages written. Every course you bought and never finished. Every starting Monday promise that turned into Tuesday silence. That graveyard grows because you have fallen in love with the idea of becoming without falling in love with the daily act of being. You want the identity of the disciplined person. You do not want the boredom, the repetition, the thousands of small, unsexy choices that build that identity. Here is what nobody tells you. The gap between who you are and who you want to be is not crossed by motivation. Motivation is a firework, loud, bright, gone. The gap is crossed by something far uglier. It is crossed by showing up when your back hurts, when your brain screams this is pointless, when nobody claps, when you failed yesterday, when you will probably fail again tomorrow. The gap is crossed by the version of you that has stopped negotiating. Every time you feel the pull to skip, to delay, to do it later, you are standing at the edge of that gap. And every time you step forward anyway, you lay down one more plank on the bridge. Most people never cross because they are waiting for the bridge to appear fully built. But you build the bridge by walking, one ugly, imperfect, uninspired step at a time. Your challenge today: the next time you feel the urge to postpone something you committed to, do not think. Count backward from 5. Then move your body before your brain can talk you out of it. The science of the dopamine trap: your brain is not broken. It is hijacked. Deep inside your skull, there is a reward system that evolved to keep you alive on the savannah. It rewards you for eating, for surviving, for finding safety. But you do not live on the savannah. You live in a world where infinite dopamine is available for 0 effort. A notification, a scroll, a click, a like, a comment, a video, another video, another video. Your brain cannot tell the difference between the dopamine hit of finishing a meaningful project and the dopamine hit of checking your phone for the 30th time. To your ancient neural circuitry, both feel like survival. So what happens? You condition yourself to expect reward without effort. And then you sit down to do hard work, real work, the kind that takes hours, focus, frustration, failure, revision. And your brain says, this is not rewarding, this feels terrible. Where is the quick hit? Then it pulls you toward your phone, or the fridge, or YouTube, or anything that will spike your dopamine without demanding anything from you. This is not weakness. This is biology, but biology can be rewired. It is called neuroplasticity, and it is the most important word you will learn this year. Your brain changes based on what you repeatedly ask it to do. Every time you resist the urge to check your phone and stay focused for 1 more minute, you are physically rewiring your reward system. You are teaching your brain to find pleasure in persistence, but it takes time. It takes suffering through the withdrawal. It takes accepting that for weeks, maybe months, the hard thing will feel wrong and the easy thing will feel right. That is the addiction leaving your nervous system. Let it hurt. Let it feel awful. That is the feeling of your brain rebuilding itself into a weapon instead of a pacifier. Action step. For the next 7 days, remove one low-effort dopamine source from your environment. Social media, gaming, junk food. Whatever your poison is, do not replace it, just sit in the boredom. Notice how loud your brain screams, do not scream back. Just breathe the anchor habit that saves everything. You have tried to change everything at once. I know because I have done it too. Monday morning, you wake up with a list of 15 new habits. Wake at 5 a.m., meditate, cold shower, journal, read, workout, eat clean, learn a language, save money, call your mother. By Tuesday, you have done none of them. By Wednesday, you hate yourself. This is not a plan. This is a suicide mission for your willpower. Willpower is not infinite. It is a muscle that fatigues. And when you try to change everything at once, you are asking that muscle to lift a boulder on its first day. It will fail. Then you will call yourself weak. Then you will quit. Then you will try again next Monday. The only way out of inconsistency is not more habits. It is one habit. One anchor habit that everything else attaches to. One tiny non-negotiable act that you do every single day, no matter what. No matter how tired. No matter how unmotivated. No matter if you are sick, hungover, heartbroken, or lost. One thing so small that it feels almost embarrassing to call it a habit. Make your bed. Write one sentence. Do one push-up. Drink one glass of water when you wake up. Walk to the mailbox and back. That is it. That is the anchor. And here is what happens when you anchor yourself. You prove to yourself that you can keep a promise. Not a big promise. Not a life-changing promise, just a small one. But that small promise becomes evidence. Evidence that you are someone who follows through. And once you have that evidence, you can add another small habit. And another. And another. Not because you have more willpower, but because your identity has shifted. You are no longer the person who quits. You are the person who makes their bed every morning. Then you become the person who works out every day. Then the person who builds a business. Then the person who changes their entire life, all from one anchor. Your challenge, choose your anchor habit right now. Make it so small that you would laugh at someone who called it discipline. That is how you know it is the right size. Commit to doing it every single day for 2 months. No exceptions. Not one the mirror test. Stand in front of a mirror. Look at your own eyes. Do not look away. What do you see? Most people see a stranger because most people have spent years telling themselves comforting lies. I'll start tomorrow. I work better under pressure. I'm just not a routine person. I have ADHD. Maybe you do, but even then you still have to function. I'm waiting for the right moment. I need more clarity. I'm not motivated yet. These are not reasons. These are elegantly crafted excuses that your mind has perfected to protect you from the pain of trying and failing. Your ego would rather you not try at all than try and fall short of your own expectations. That is the silent killer, the fear of not being as great as you imagine yourself to be. So you stay inconsistent, because inconsistency gives you an alibi. I could have been great if I had just stuck with it. That is the tragic lullaby of the talented quitter, but the mirror knows. The mirror has seen every morning you slept in, every project you abandoned, every promise you broke to yourself. And here is the most painful part. You are the only one who keeps score. The world does not care if you are inconsistent. The world will simply pass you by. It will give your promotion to someone more reliable. It will give your relationship to someone more present. It will give your opportunity to someone who showed up when they did not feel like it. The universe has no pity for unused potential. So look in that mirror and decide. Are you done lying? Because the mirror will not lie back. It will show you exactly who you have been. The question is whether you can stand to see it long enough to change. Say this out loud. I am done negotiating with the part of me that wants to quit. Starting now, my word is final. The body language of a consistent person. You do not walk like a person who gets things done. I can tell from here. Your shoulders are curled forward. Your head is slightly down. Your eyes scan the floor. Your chest is collapsed. This is the posture of someone who has learned to apologize for taking up space. And your body is talking to your brain. Every single second of every single day, your posture is sending signals to your nervous system. Hunched shoulders signal defeat. A dropped head signals submission. Shallow breathing signals anxiety. And your brain listens. It produces the chemicals that match your posture. Cortisol rises. testosterone falls, confidence evaporates. You feel small, so you act small, so you become small. Then you wonder why you cannot follow through. You are literally bending your own spine into the shape of inconsistency. But the reverse is also true. Stand like someone who keeps their word. Shoulders back, chest open, chin level, feet planted, breathe from your diaphragm, take up space, claim the air around you. Do this for 90 seconds before you start anything difficult. Your brain will release testosterone and dopamine. Your cortisol will drop. You will not feel like faking it. You will actually become more chemically capable of persistence. This is not woo-woo. This is endocrinology. Try it right now. Sit up straight. Roll your shoulders back. Lift your chin. Take 3 deep breaths. Notice how different you feel. That is your biology responding to your posture. Now imagine walking into a difficult meeting like that. Imagine sitting down to work like that. Imagine facing rejection, conflict, or failure from that posture. You are not the same person. Your body has changed your mind, and your mind has changed what you are capable of. Your challenge: for the next 24 hours, every time you walk through a doorway, reset your posture. Shoulders back, chin up, breath deep. Do not let yourself pass through a single door slumped over when you want to quit at work. It is 2:47 p.m. on a Wednesday. You have been staring at the same screen for an hour. Your boss just added 3 more items to your list. The project is behind schedule. Your coworker dropped the ball again. And every cell in your body wants to close the laptop, walk away, and tell yourself you will finish it tomorrow. This is the moment. This is the exact moment where inconsistent people and consistent people split paths. Not on Monday morning when motivation is high. Not after a good night's sleep. Not after a pep talk or a podcast or a cup of coffee. Right now, in the sludge, in the boredom, in the frustration. In the exhausted afternoon when nobody is watching and nobody will know if you quit except you. That is the testing ground. The inconsistent person listens to the feeling. They interpret the resistance as a sign. This isn't meant to be. I need a break. I work better when I'm fresh. These are lies dressed as wisdom. The consistent person has learned that resistance is not a sign to stop. Resistance is a sign that you are finally doing something that matters. When the work is easy, everyone shows up. When the work is hard, when it is boring, when it is thankless, that is when the separation happens. So what do you do at 2:47 p.m.? You break the hour into 10 minutes. You say to yourself, I can do anything for 10 minutes. Then you set a timer, and for 10 minutes you do not check your phone, you do not open a new tab, you do not get coffee, you do not complain, you just work. When the timer ends, you set another, and another, not because you feel like it. Because you gave your word. Because you are done being the person who quits when the feeling fades. Because you know that the feeling always fades and the only thing that remains is what you decide to do in the absence of it. Your action at work tomorrow. The moment you want to quit, set a 10-minute timer. Do not think. Just set it. Work until it beeps. Then decide if you can do another the environment that betrays you. Look around the room where you are sitting right now. I want you to see it for what it really is. Not the furniture, not the decorations, the triggers. Your environment is not neutral. Your environment is either training you to follow through or training you to quit. Every object in your line of sight is sending a message. The phone face up on the desk says, distract me. The TV remote on the coffee table says, relax instead. The closed laptop inside a drawer says, out of sight, out of mind. The pile of laundry on the chair says, later. The unmade bed says, don't worry about it. The dirty dishes in the sink say, nobody's watching. Your environment is whispering to you all day long. And you have been pretending you cannot hear it, but you can. You have just chosen not to redesign the battlefield. The consistent person does not rely on willpower to resist temptation. Willpower is a limited resource that runs out by 3 p.m. The consistent person designs an environment where the right choice is the easy choice, and the wrong choice is the hard choice. They put their gym clothes next to the bed so they have to step over them to start the day. They delete apps so they have to reinstall them to scroll. They put their phone in another room so they have to stand up to check it. They place their work materials on the table so the friction to begin is 0. They hide the TV remote in a drawer so the friction to turn it on is high. This is not cheating. This is engineering. You are not fighting your biology. You are working with it. Your brain is lazy by design. It will always choose the path of least resistance. So build a path where your goals are downhill and your distractions are uphill. Your challenge: identify 3 objects in your environment that trigger distraction or procrastination. Move them out of sight. Then identify 3 objects that trigger focus and action. Move them into plain view. Do this before you sleep tonight. The self-talk that keeps you stuck. Listen to the voice inside your head. What is it saying right now? Is it saying you can do this? Or is it saying, who do you think you are? Be honest. The voice of inconsistency is not a scream. It is a whisper, a slow, patient, insidious whisper that has been running in the background for years. You can start tomorrow. One day off won't hurt. You've earned a break. It's too late to start now. What's the point anyway? You'll just fail again. You're not disciplined like those other people. They have something you don't. That last one is the most dangerous. The belief that consistency is a trait you are either born with or not. That some people have it and some people don't. That you are just not one of the lucky ones. This is the lie that has stolen more dreams than failure ever could. Consistency is not a gift. Consistency is a decision made thousands of times. The voice that tells you otherwise is not your intuition. It is your fear wearing a clever disguise. Your fear has learned that it can keep you safe by keeping you small. And it has learned that the most effective way to keep you small is to convince you that you are incapable of staying in the game. So it talks, and you listen. But here is what changes everything. You do not have to believe the voice. You can hear it and still act. You can feel the resistance and still move. The voice is not a command. It is a suggestion. And you are allowed to say no, thank you to your own brain. Every time you act despite the voice, you weaken it. Every time you obey, you strengthen it. This is operant conditioning. You are training your own mind to either be your ally or your enemy. Your challenge: for the next 3 days, every time you hear the whisper to quit, delay, or make an excuse, say out loud so the ears hear it, I hear you and I am doing it anyway. Do not argue. Do not negotiate. Just state the fact and act. Say this out loud. My feelings are visitors. I am the one who decides how long they stay. The science of the 2-day rule there is a neuroscientific principle that will save your life if you let it. It is called the 2-day rule. Simply put, never miss 2 days in a row. That is it. That is the entire science boiled down to its essence. Here is why it works. When you perform an action, your brain strengthens the neural pathway associated with that action. The first day, the pathway is weak. The second day, it gets a little stronger. By day 30, it is a highway. But when you miss one day, the pathway does not disappear. It just begins to weaken. Miss 2 days and the pathway starts to be reclaimed by other habits. The grass grows over the road. By day 3, you are essentially starting over. The 2-day rule works because it acknowledges that life happens. You will get sick. You will have emergencies. You will be exhausted. You will miss days. The perfectionist in you says, if I miss one day, I have failed, so I might as well quit entirely. That perfectionism is the enemy of consistency. The 2-day rule gives you permission to be human while preventing you from falling into the abyss of I'll start again Monday. 1 missed day is data. 2 missed days is a pattern. 3 missed days is a new identity. So when you miss a day and you do not spiral. You do not self-flagellate. You do not declare yourself a failure. You simply show up the next day, no matter what, even if you do the bare minimum. Even if you do 5 minutes instead of an hour. Even if you just open the document and close it again. You show up. Because showing up on day 2 resets the clock. The neural pathway gets reinforced. The identity stays intact. Your challenge: identify one habit you have been struggling to maintain. For the next 30 days, apply the 2-day rule. Write down each day whether you did it. If you miss a day, put a circle around the next day and make damn sure you do not miss 2 in a row. The ritual that beats resistance: every morning, the first 30 minutes of your day determine the next 15 hours. You already know this. You have read the articles. You have watched the videos. You have bought the planner. And still, you wake up and grab your phone. Still, you check your messages. Still, you scroll. Still, you start your day by handing the steering wheel to anyone who wants to take it. A notification from your boss. A headline designed to make you angry. A text from someone who does not deserve your attention at 6:15 a.m. You gave away your first 30 minutes before you even got out of bed, and then you wonder why you cannot focus, why you feel reactive instead of proactive, why the day seems to happen to you instead of you happening to the day. The answer is simple and brutal. You have no morning ritual, or worse, you have a morning ritual of distraction. The consistent person does not check their phone until they have completed their non-negotiable morning ritual. That ritual does not need to be 2 hours of meditation and yoga. It needs to be 3 things. First, hydration. 1 full glass of water before anything else. Your brain is dehydrated after 8 hours of sleep. Dehydration impairs cognitive function by 15%. 15% before you have even started. Second, movement. Not a workout, just movement. Stretch. Walk. Jumping jacks. Anything to wake up your nervous system and clear the metabolic waste that accumulated overnight. Third, intention. 60 seconds where you ask yourself one question. What is the one thing I must complete today that will make everything else easier or irrelevant? Write it down. 1 sentence. That is it. Hydration, movement, intention. 15 minutes. No phone, no email, no news, no social media. You do this before you do anything else, and you do it every single day. Rain or shine, sick or healthy, happy or sad, because the ritual is not optional. The ritual is the wall between you and the chaos. Your challenge tomorrow: place your phone in another room tonight. Set an alarm. When you wake up, do not go get your phone until you have completed hydration, movement, and intention. Just once. See what happens to your entire day real life. The rejection that almost broke you, you pitched the idea. You put yourself out there. You asked for the sale, the date, the opportunity, the forgiveness, and they said no. Not a gentle no, a hard no, the kind that echoes, the kind that makes you question everything you thought you knew about yourself. Now what? The inconsistent person takes the no as a sign. See, I knew it wasn't meant to be. The universe is protecting me from something better. I'll try again when I feel more ready. These are comfort blankets woven from fear. The no did not kill you, but your reaction to the no might kill your future. Because here is the truth about rejection. It is not an event. It is a story you tell yourself. The event is a few words from another human being who has their own fears, their own limitations, their own bad day. The story is the spiral you build around those words. They rejected my idea, therefore my idea is bad. My idea is bad, therefore I am bad. I am bad, therefore I will never succeed. That is not logic. That is emotional reasoning. And it is the fastest path to giving up. The consistent person has learned a radical refrain. Rejection is not failure. Rejection is data. You asked, they said no. That is one data point. It tells you what did not work this time with this person in this context. It does not tell you anything about your worth, your potential, or your future. The only way to get more data is to ask again, to different people, at different times, with a slightly different approach. The consistent person collects no's like a scientist collects negative results. Each one brings them closer to a yes, but only if they stay in the game, only if they refuse to let the story of the rejection become the reason they stop. Your action after the next rejection: write down the facts of what happened without any emotional language. I asked. They said no because X. Then write down what you learned. Then write down when you will try again. Then do not wait until you feel ready. Do it on the date you wrote. The conflict that makes you hide there is a conversation you have been avoiding. Someone in your life needs to hear something difficult, a boundary that needs to be drawn, a truth that needs to be spoken, an apology that needs to be given or requested. And every day you avoid it, you think you are keeping the peace. But you are not keeping the peace. You are storing dynamite. Avoiding conflict does not make you easygoing. It makes you inconsistent in your relationships. Because consistency is not just about habits. Consistency is about character. And character is revealed in the moments when speaking up is harder than staying silent. The inconsistent person avoids hard conversations. They tell themselves it's not the right time. I don't want to make things awkward. They should already know how I feel. I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. And the resentment builds, and the distance grows. And one day you explode over something small because you have been swallowing the big things for months. That is not kindness. That is cowardice dressed as politeness. The consistent person has learned that conflict is not the enemy. Unresolved conflict is the enemy. They have learned to feel the fear of the conversation and walk into it anyway, not aggressively, not cruelly, but honestly. Here is how I feel, here is what I need, here is what I can and cannot accept. They say it with their whole chest. And then they listen. And then they stay in the room until something moves. Not because conflict is fun, because avoiding conflict has never once made a relationship stronger. Your challenge: identify the conversation you have been avoiding. Schedule it within the next 48 hours. Write down exactly what you need to say. Read it to yourself in the mirror. Then go say it to the person who needs to hear it. Say this out loud. The conversation I am avoiding is the one that will set me free. The 80% rule that kills perfectionism. You have a secret addiction. It is the addiction to perfect. You will not start until the conditions are right. You will not ship until it is flawless. You will not speak until you have the perfect words. You will not act until you are certain. And because perfect never arrives, you never start. Or if you start, you never finish. You rewrite the first paragraph 40 times and never write the second. You design the logo for 3 months and never launch the website. You plan the workout routine in exquisite detail and never step into the gym. Perfectionism is not a commitment to excellence. Perfectionism is a commitment to not finishing. It is a sophisticated form of procrastination that wears a mask of high standards. The consistent person has learned a different rule, the 80% rule. Done is better than perfect. 80% of the way there shipped is infinitely better than 100% of the way there imaginary. The 80% rule says, when you have done enough to move forward, you move forward. The blog post is good enough, publish it. The presentation covers the key points, deliver it. The product has the core features, launch it. The apology is sincere enough, say it. You can iterate. You can improve. You can revise, but you cannot improve something that does not exist. And nothing exists until you finish it. The fear of being judged for an imperfect output keeps more people stuck than any external obstacle ever could. Nobody is waiting for your masterpiece. They are waiting for you to be useful. And usefulness does not require perfection. It requires completion. Your challenge: identify one project you have been holding back because it is not perfect. Give yourself 48 hours to get it to 80%. Then ship it, publish it, send it, or launch it. No more revisions of friendship that drains you. Look at your 5 closest friends. No, really look. Not at their faces, at their habits. Are they consistent? Do they follow through? Do they wake up and do the work, or do they make excuses and call it self-care? Because here is the brutal truth that nobody wants to say out loud. You are the average of the people you spend the most time with. Not spiritually, neurologically. Your brain has mirror neurons that automatically mimic the behavior, the language, and even the nervous system regulation of the people around you. Spend time with someone who quits easily, and your brain will learn to quit easily. Spend time with someone who gossips and complains, and your brain will learn to complain. Spend time with someone who is inconsistent with their word, and your brain will learn that breaking promises is normal. You are not immune to this. Nobody is. The consistent person is not a lone wolf who resists all social influence. The consistent person chooses their circle with surgical precision. They do not cut people off callously, but they do evaluate. They ask, does this person make me more likely to keep my word or less? After I spend time with them, do I feel energized to act or drained into inaction? Do they celebrate my discipline, or do they mock it with live a little? You do not need to burn bridges, but you do need to build fences. You need to spend less time with the energy vampires and more time with the people who have already built what you're trying to build. You need to find the ones who show up, not the ones who talk about showing up. Your challenge: make a list of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Rate each one on a scale of 1 to 5. This person makes me more consistent. Then spend the next week consciously increasing time with the 4s and 5s and decreasing time with the 1s, 2s, and 3s. Do not announce it, just do it. The daily review that changes everything. You cannot fix what you do not measure. This is not a business cliche. This is a law of behavior change. What gets tracked gets improved. What gets ignored gets worse. The inconsistent person goes to bed with a vague sense that the day did not go well. They feel a fog of disappointment. But they never look directly at the numbers. They never review the day with cold, analytical honesty. So they repeat the same mistakes tomorrow and the next day and the next. The consistent person does a daily review. Every night, 5 minutes, 5 questions. Question 1, what did I say I would do today? Question 2, what did I actually do? Question 3, where is the gap between those two lists? Question 4, what specific factor caused that gap? Not, I was tired. That is not specific. Specific is, I stayed up too late watching Netflix because I didn't set a bedtime alarm. Question 5, what is one adjustment I will make tomorrow to close this gap? 5 minutes. A notebook, a pen, no phone, no laptop, just you and the truth. This review is not for self-punishment. It is for data collection. You are a scientist studying the organism of your own behavior. You are looking for patterns. You are looking for triggers. You are looking for the moments where your system fails so you can redesign the system. Over time, these 5 minutes become the single most valuable investment you make all day, because they turn your failures into fertilizer. They turn your inconsistency into a curriculum. Your challenge tonight, before you sleep, answer the 5 questions. Write the answers down. Do not skip one. Do not lie. The notebook does not judge. The notebook only remembers. Say this out loud. I do not hide from my data. My data sets me free. The comeback after catastrophe: you fell. Not a small stumble, a fall. You missed a week, then 2, then a month. The gym membership expired. The project is buried under emails. The diet turned into a 3-week sugar binge. The relationship is damaged. The savings are gone. You look in the mirror and you do not recognize the person looking back. The shame is so heavy you can barely breathe. And the voice is back, louder than ever. See, you proved it. You can't do this. You never could. You were pretending to be someone you're not. Just give up. It's easier. It's more honest. This is the most dangerous moment in the entire journey, not the first missed day, the catastrophe, the collapse, because this is where most people permanently quit. They take the evidence of their failure as proof of their identity. I failed, therefore I am a failure. And they never try again. But listen to me carefully. The catastrophe is not the end. The catastrophe is the beginning of the most important lesson you will ever learn, the art of the comeback. The comeback is not about perfection. The comeback is about return. Can you walk back into the gym after 3 months of absence? Can you open the laptop after weeks of avoidance? Can you make the apology after blowing up? The answer is yes, but only if you let go of the shame. Shame is not a motivator. Shame is an anchor. It keeps you stuck in the past, replaying the failure, convincing you that you are unworthy of a new beginning. You must release the shame, not by pretending it didn't happen, by accepting that it happened and deciding that it does not define you. You are not your worst week. You are not your longest streak of quitting. You are the person who stands up one more time than they fall. That is the only definition of consistency that matters, not never falling, always getting back up. Your challenge right now, if you are in a catastrophe, write down 3 small actions you can take in the next 24 hours. Not big ones, tiny ones. Walk to the mailbox, open the document and close it. Drink a glass of water, do them. Then do them again tomorrow. The comeback begins with 1 step, not a plan, a step. The identity shift that ends the war you have been trying to change your behavior. That is why you keep failing. Behavior is the last thing to change, not the first. The first thing to change is your identity, your sense of who you are. Right now, deep down, you still see yourself as an inconsistent person who is trying to become consistent. That is a losing battle, because your identity will always win. If you believe you are a smoker, quitting cigarettes is a daily war against yourself. If you believe you are a non-smoker, not smoking is simply who you are. The same applies to consistency. You have been waking up every day as someone who struggles with follow-through, who is trying to act like someone who follows through. That is exhausting. That is unsustainable. That is why you snap back to old patterns the moment your willpower runs out. You have to stop trying to be consistent. You have to decide that you already are consistent, not perfectly, not flawlessly, but as an identity. I'm the kind of person who keeps their word even to themselves. I'm the kind of person who shows up even when I don't feel like it. I'm the kind of person who finishes what I start. These are not affirmations you repeat until you believe them. These are statements of fact that you prove through action. But the action comes easier when the identity is already claimed. You do not have to earn the identity. You choose the identity, then you act in alignment with it. And every time you act, you strengthen the identity. It is a virtuous cycle, but it starts with a decision. A true decision, not a hope, not a wish, not a "I'll try." A decision, your challenge. Write down the identity statement that feels like a stretch but not a lie. I am a consistent person, or I am someone who follows through, or I am disciplined. Write it. Then today, make every single decision from that identity. When you want to quit, ask, what would a consistent person do? Then do that thing, not because you feel like it, because that is who you are now. The funeral test. Imagine your own funeral. Not because this is morbid, because this is clarifying. You are dead. The people you love are gathered. One by one, they stand up to speak about who you were. What do you want them to say? Do you want them to say he had so much potential? Do you want them to say she could have been anything if she had just stuck with something? Do you want them to say he started 1,000 projects and finished none? Do you want them to say she was talented but unreliable? No, you want them to say he finished. She showed up. He could be counted on. She built something that lasted. He was the most consistent person I knew. That is what you want. That is what every human being wants at the deepest level. Not fame, not fortune. To be known as someone who could be trusted with their own life. And here is the painful truth. You are building that eulogy right now. Every day you show up or don't show up, every promise you keep or break, every time you push through or quit, you are writing the words that will be spoken over your grave. Not someday, today. The funeral is not a distant event. The funeral is the cumulative result of every single choice you are making in this moment. The person who is remembered as consistent did not wake up one day and become consistent. They were consistent in the small, invisible, uncelebrated moments that nobody saw. They were consistent when it was raining, when they were tired, when nobody clapped, when they failed the day before. They were consistent because they understood that the funeral is not a surprise. The funeral is a report card. Your challenge, write your own eulogy, not the one you want. The one you are currently earning, be honest. Then write the one you want to earn. Then look at the gap. Then close it, one day at a time. Say this out loud. I am writing my eulogy with every choice I make today. I choose to write something I will be proud to hear. The unbroken chain there is a concept from Stoic philosophy called the chain. You do not try to be perfect forever. You just try to be perfect today. And tomorrow you try to be perfect again. And the day after. And you do not worry about the future or regret the past. You just wake up and lay one more link in the chain. Some days the link is strong. You work out for 2 hours. You write 10 pages. You have 3 difficult conversations. Other days the link is weak. You do 5 minutes of stretching. You write 1 sentence. You send 1 text, but it is still a link. It still connects to the link before it and the link after it. The chain does not care how strong each link is. The chain only cares that the links are unbroken. That is consistency, not heroism, not glory, not a highlight reel. A chain of unglamorous, uncelebrated, often boring days where you did the thing you said you would do. Even badly, even half-heartedly, even through tears, you did it. And because you did it, the chain remains. And because the chain remains, you become someone who cannot imagine breaking it. The chain becomes part of your identity, part of your nervous system, part of your bones. And one day, you look back and you do not recognize the person who used to quit. That person is dead. They died one small decision at a time. And you are what remains, not perfect, not finished, but unbroken. Your final challenge, start your chain today. Do one small thing you said you would do. Then tomorrow, do not break the chain. Then the next day and the next. When you want to quit, look at the chain, see how many links you have laid. Ask yourself if you are willing to be the one who breaks it. The answer, if you are honest, is no. Because the chain is not just a streak. The chain is proof. Proof that you are not who you used to be. Proof that you are becoming who you were always meant to become. Keep the chain unbroken, not for applause, not for recognition. Because the person who keeps the chain unbroken is the person who can look in the mirror and say with full authority, I am someone who keeps their word. And that person can do anything, anything at all. So go, start your chain, break the cycle, and never look back.